What's up? It's from experience. There were Friday nights where I'd sit in my room, Xbox on, and at some point I'd pick up my phone and open Instagram, and I'd see my friends from home out together, laughing, having the kind of night that just looks fun from the outside. Everyone seeming to know exactly where they're supposed to be, who they're supposed to be with. Like life just arranged itself naturally for them, in a way it never quite did for me. And I'm sitting there alone, with a controller in my hand, wondering how everyone else made it look so easy. Nothing wrong with playing Xbox on a Friday night. I actually enjoy it. But there's a difference between doing it because you want to, and doing it because there's nothing else going on, and nobody reaching out, and nobody to reach out to. When you're choosing it, it's fine. When it's all there is, the feeling is completely different. Like the night itself is telling you something you've been trying not to hear. And then your mom texts, or your cousin, just checking in, nothing serious. What are you up to tonight? And you sit there for a second too long before you answer. Because the honest answer is nothing. And nothing feels impossible to say out loud at that point in your life. So you say something, or maybe, just to keep it short and move on. And then you put the phone down feeling worse than before they even asked, because now you're carrying the weight of hiding it on top of already feeling it. And the hiding somehow makes the whole thing heavier. That's what being lost felt like for me. Not some big dramatic moment you can point to and explain to people. Just that quiet feeling every Friday night that everyone else was somewhere doing something, and I was here, alone, going over and over in my head what I must have done wrong to end up like this, whether I was the problem, whether I always had been. I spent a lot of that period questioning myself in ways I wouldn't have admitted to anyone, whether I was likable enough, interesting enough, fun enough to be around. Whether there was something about me that people could see from the outside that I just couldn't see from in here. Some reason they kept their distance that I was completely blind to. And then I'd open my phone and make the whole thing worse, because social media doesn't show you the other people sitting alone in their rooms on a Friday night. It only ever shows you the ones who aren't. So you're sitting there, looking at your whole unfiltered reality, and comparing it to the single best moment of everyone else's weekend. And you lose that comparison every single time without exception. Here's what I know now that I genuinely couldn't see then. None of it meant what I thought it meant. Those Friday nights weren't punishment for something I'd done. They weren't proof that something was fundamentally broken about me. They weren't a preview of how things were always going to be. It was just a season, a hard one, a lonely one I wouldn't wish on anyone, but just a season. Because that same person sitting alone with that Xbox on a Friday night now has a handful of people he can call on any given night and find someone who actually wants to show up. Real ones. People who know him properly and chose him anyway. Not because I reinvented myself or figured out some way to be more likable, just because I kept showing up as myself, honestly and consistently, long enough for the right people to eventually find me. So if you're in that season right now, the loneliness you're feeling isn't permanent. It isn't who you are. It isn't what you deserve. You didn't do anything wrong. You just haven't found your people yet. And there's a version of your life that's closer than it feels right now, where you look back on these Friday nights and understand exactly what they were for. Not evidence of anything bad about you, just the quiet before everything changed. Give it time. The right people are coming. That is all for this one. If any of this resonated with you, drop a comment below. Subscribe for more from experience. Catch you in the next one.